Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thanks for taking us out of order. Esteemed members of the Education Committee, we're here to testify in support of H442 and S241, an act establishing a special education funding reform commission. This is a bill we filed after we passed the Student Opportunity Act. I was a member of the Education Committee when we did that. Very proud of that work. Very proud to have voted that favorably out of committee and yes vote on the House floor. But since that passed, our constituents have come to us in Western Mass and said, one tweak we'd love to see is the percentage for special education students. We were able in the SOA to up that percentage a little bit, but I think it's a unique situation. Most of our towns in our two districts are way over even that new percentage. And I know we're not the only towns that have that situation, but I say we're unique because, as you'll hear from the senator, I think it's 20 or out of your 24 towns, or almost all 24 of the towns in your district. So that's the unique part. That's the unusual part, is that our districts have this large percentage of towns over that percentage. But we know that that's an issue across the state. And so this bill would just make a commission to study special education funding. And it's an issue really close to my heart as a former middle school special education paraprofessional and a former school committee member. And so I would love to just see this pass and get a group of people smarter than me in a room together to really focus just on the funding of that special education piece and see if we can take the good work we did and continue to make it better and better. And I'll pass it over to Senator Comerford.
Thank you, Representative Carey. I'm so glad for this partnership with you, Rep. Carey, and Chair Lewis, and of course, esteemed members of this committee. I have to say that of all the bills I carry, this special education bill is perhaps the most weighty because of what Rep. Carey, I think, so rightly characterized in terms of the real impact of our inability as a legislature to adequately fund, I believe, at present, special education services for cities and towns. So as the representative said, well, 25 of my have school districts, all of which are above the 16% threshold. And Mr. Chair, I know that I am a frequent flyer with you on this issue, and I really appreciate so much your dedication to making me smarter about the impact of the Student Opportunity Act then and now, and also your engagement on this issue. So for example, the Orange School District, 29.2% of their kids require special education services, and in Gil-Montague, 29.9%. It's a regional school district. In one of the testimony that the committee will receive, you'll see that in fact, one of the town administrators said, look, we want to fund special education. I don't think that's a question here. Our communities want to fund special education. The question is, what are they going to cut? So this town administrator actually said, it's not about cutting fat, it's actually about cutting arms and legs. And that's, I think, what was meant to be a visceral accounting of cutting actual positions, right? So we pit teachers against firefighters in our communities because we don't have enough resources. Every dollar that we can't fund from the state for special education services is then borne by the local municipality. And of course, there is a correlation, as you know well, committee, with poverty. So we are really setting our smallest, in this case, in my case, and poorest communities at odds with each other, trying to actually serve the very kids who need our service the most. So as Rep. Carey said, and I appreciate the representative's humility, we just want to get good people in a room to look at the state's decision, and especially in light of post-pandemic numbers. I know you're looking at this, Mr. Chair. The numbers in Massachusetts for special education students reported out of the National Assessment of Educational Progress are really grim. The test score declined from 20 to 22 in Massachusetts on the fourth grade math test was 5 points among all students, but 8 points among students with disabilities. And even more striking is the decline in fourth grade reading scores, where all student decline was 4 points, while the drop for students with disabilities was 12 points. So we're coming out of a pandemic that hit us disproportionately along race, ethnicity, and class. It hit us harder where we know we're weak and vulnerable, where we haven't done enough. for our communities. And now we're seeing that it's also hitting us disproportionately hard in our students with special needs. So I really do think this is a precipice moment for us. I think the urgency is laid down. And I really hope that this committee will see the urgency and actually take a step to set up something like the Foundation Budget Review Commission, which was so powerful. Let's set up a special education budget review commission and allow good people to go to work to address these glaring gaps for our students and for our educators. Thank you so much for your consideration.
Well, thank you, Senator Comerford and Representative Carey, for your leadership here. Anybody questions? Yes, I want to welcome Senator Roush, who's joined us, and also Representative Peace has joined us as well. He's on virtually. Welcome to both of you. Senator Roush.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chair. Wonderful to be here. Thank you both for this bill. I just wanted a quick clarifying question for me. The end of the bill says that the commission will issue its report by a date certain, I believe June of next year. So is this basically intended to be a special commission that does its job and then disbands?
Indeed, yeah. So it's a one and done. Well, I mean, we may want to bring it back, 10 years from now, 5 years from now, but yeah, it's a one and done.
Thank you both. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Madam Chair.
Okay. Anybody else? All right. Well, thank you very much. And